You may be seated.
Good afternoon. I am Keaton Munsell, Class Vice President.
And I am Ara Salina, Class Treasurer.
On behalf of the entire class of 2019, we would like to welcome family, friends, and invited guests to the graduation ceremony.
We would like to thank our parents, friends, family, and teachers for the guidance they have provided to each of us along our journey to this moment.
Today is the day myself and my fellow classmates have been looking forward to as the end of procrastinating on homework, eating school lunches, and our last day of high school.
We would personally like to thank each of you for the memories, the laughs, the occasional mental breakdowns, and the opportunity to start the beginning of our future.
Today should serve as a starting point for where our futures are meant to take us, whether that be the workforce, military, or furthering our education.
From this day forward, let us each make our decisions with our best interest in mind. Let us believe in ourselves so that we may reach our goals and fulfill our dreams and be the best that we can be.
We've already taken the first step by making it to this ceremony today. Now it's time to take the next steps in our journey of our lives and begin to build our futures.
To the class of 2019, good luck to each of you as you set out into the world, and thank you all for being a Cougar. Now, for one last time, COUG! Now will the senior ensemble please come to the front?
every single year at Salina High School South Graduation, we're blessed to have the senior ensemble, but we're also blessed to have the Salina High School South Cougar Marching Band help play our processional and recessional. At this time, I'd like to give them all another round of applause for a great job. It is my honor to welcome family, friends, and guests to the commencement celebration of Salina High School South's graduating class of 2019. At this time, I'd like to recognize several special guests. This is a group of people that work extremely hard, day in and day out, and their deeds aren't always realized until many years later. They're extremely forgiving of their principal. But at this time, I would like to have the faculty of Salina High School South stand and be recognized. Thank you for another great year. Joining us today on the platform are the following guests. I would ask that each person stand when your name is called so that you can be recognized. And I'd also request the audience to hold your applause until all names have been read. Representing USD 305 School District, the Board President, Nedra Ebel, to my left, Vice President, Carol Brandert, Board Members Gary Denning, Emma Doherty, Jim Fletcher, Gabe Grant, and Ann Zimmerman. And to my right is USD 305 Superintendent Dr. Jim Hardy. Representing South High are two people that their deeds aren't always realized either, but they work extremely hard behind the scenes to make sure South High is safe, honorable, and successful, and that is Julie Falcon, our assistant principal, and Scott Chrisman, our senior counselor, Amy Wagner, senior class sponsor, Larry Nutter, and today's guest, Mark Forger Stuckey. Let's give them a round of applause. Every May, I have the opportunity to review the senior edition of the Tripodium and reflect on the school year. And as I read through this year's edition, what stood out in my mind the most about the class of 2019 was your unwavering school spirit and your willingness to engage in activities and have fun. Our student section never gave up when cheering on our athletes, no matter what the score was. And this group of students had an incredible turnout. Dances, theatrical productions, concerts, and many other events throughout the school year to help support one another. This class can certainly throw their principal off too from time to time of his normal schedule. One of my favorite aspects of being an educator is no day is ever the same. For example, last Thursday, as I was getting ready to help set up for the senior breakfast, I received a call from Mrs. Heidi, our building principal's administrative assistant, or what I called our lifesaver. She called and said, "Mr. Stevens, we have a parking problem in the west parking lot." And I responded, "How's that different from any other day?" Cougars becoming synonymous with bumper-to-bumper traffic. In any case, I asked, "What's the problem?" Mrs. Heidi reported, "There's a group of students protesting in the west parking lot." I couldn't understand it. And I said, "Well, what are they protesting?" And Mrs. Heidi answered in a very concerned and serious tone. She said, "Crispitos." Now, here's the thing. At the end of the school year, I start getting grouchy. I start getting worn out a little bit. So I went negative immediately and jumped to the conclusion. I responded with, "How could they possibly be anti-Crispito, Mrs. Heidi? I don't get it." She responded, "They're not protesting Crispitos being bad. They're yelling, 'We want Crispitos.'" Thank goodness, because in my mind, if you truly were protesting that, I was going to have to draw a line in the sand of the senior class. Crispitos are just about the best culinary delight we've got left with federal nutrition requirements. So I think, okay. As I started to make my way from now what was a growing protest out in the parking lot, I asked Mrs. Heidi a question that had been weighing heavily on my mind since I heard about this Crispito protest. "What was for lunch today?" She responded, "Crispitos." Thank goodness. So my parting gift to the class of 2019 is by the authority granted to me by USD 305 School Board. The last day of seniors from here forth shall be Crispito Lunch Day. Hang on a second. Don't get too excited. I don't think I have the authority to do that. But I can advocate. In all seriousness, your class has demonstrated resilience through a lot of change, and you've exhibited remarkable leadership by remaining positive about such experiences. You will always be the senior class that opened Salina High School South 2.0. You have been a fun group, and I would be remiss if I did not tell you that we are very proud of your accomplishments today, and it's been a rewarding experience to work with you as an educator. Thank you for the great memories. At this time, it is my privilege to introduce today's speaker. Each year, the senior class officers decide who they want to invite to come and speak at commencement. And this year, we are very fortunate to have a former Salina High School South alumnus, Mark Forger Stuckey. Mr. Stuckey graduated from Salina High School South in 1976. He then attended Kansas State University, where he graduated in 1980. In 1980, Mr. Stuckey joined the United States Marine Corps. He has piloted a U-2 spy plane, F-4 Phantom, an F-8-18 Hornet, an SR-71 Blackbird. I just think that's cool. I just like saying that, a SR-71 Blackbird, and even a Goodyear blimp. Eventually, he graduated from the Navy Fighter Weapons Top Gun School. Following the Navy, Mr. Stuckey served as an instructor pilot for the NASA Space Shuttle astronauts, and in 2006, Mr. Stuckey achieved the status of being named the United States Air Force Pilot of the Year. Most recently, our speaker made national news when on Thursday, December 13, 2018, he flew in a test commercial spacecraft named VSS Unity, sponsored by Sir Richard Branson, reaching a height of 51.4 miles above the Earth and at speeds close to 3 times the speed of sound. The United States government considers the boundary for space to be 50 miles above the ground. The two pilots, Mark Forger Stuckey and Frederick C.J. Stucco, earned commercial astronaut wings from the United States government for this accomplishment and brought the company of Virgin Galactic closer to becoming the first private company to take customers to space. I can think of no other more appropriate quote than the Kansas State motto, ad astra per aspera, which is Latin for to the stars through difficulty. Our guest speaker, Mark Forger Stuckey, embodies such a motto and is a prime example of what a successful graduate at Salina High School South can not only dream, but more importantly achieve. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming home Salina High School South alumnus, Mark Forger Stuckey.
Thank you very much, Dr. Stevens. Good afternoon. On behalf of the Salina South High School class of 1976, it is my pleasure to honor you, the graduating class of 2019. On a personal note, I want to thank Mr. Larry Nutter and Senior Class President Luke Strait for getting this ball rolling, the senior class for voting me in, and Ms. Julie Falcon, for the Assistant Principal, for entrusting me with speaking here today. In the 70s, South High was a brand new school, radical for its time, shaped like a 3-leaf clover, with classrooms housed in those infamous pods, devoid of windows or real walls, and where individualized instruction was self-paced and often self-taught. Nearby Schilling Air Force Base housed the families of deployed military personnel, bringing a diversity to our school that was unique to the area. South was a melting pot where different races got along, and we didn't think much about it. 20 and a handful of years later, things haven't changed much. South High is still a beautiful new school, albeit more conventional. I recently read in the New York Times that individualized self-paced instruction was making a comeback in Kansas, now with tablet computers instead of recipe cards. Schilling Manor is long closed, but the school remains diverse because the community has become more diverse. According to online statistics, 1/3 of you are non-white and half qualifies economically disadvantaged. Do not let either statistic rule your lives. I'm half Puerto Rican and came from lower middle class backgrounds. Some things may be easier if you're born into wealth, but there are too many examples of silver spoon children who have accomplished nothing, and those from humble backgrounds who have accomplished all. The real impoverished are those whose minds and willpower are insufficient to commit to chasing their dreams. I'm a test pilot who recently became an astronaut, something I've yearned for since age 3. Any road that takes 6 decades to travel has to have some twists and turns in it and some big potholes. And as the title of my talk suggests, sometimes I was just along for the ride. After each test flight, a test pilot is expected to report on what happened and any lessons learned or recommendations. So here's my summary report and 11 things I've learned as I've hitchhiked through life. A few may not be original, but I've tried to tie them to my story. The first one is you can do anything you want as long as you can accept the consequences. That pearl of wisdom was told to me by my 6th grade teacher, Mr. Dwight Powell, who I credit with firmly guiding me onto a more proper path. At the time, I thought it was a warning about bad behavior, but it's wider ranging than that, because you must also accept the consequences of those positive things that you choose not to do. Number 2, take personal responsibility. You are a graduating class, but it is your individual name on your diploma. And if, like a student pilot, you are now cleared solo on your journey through life. You are ultimately responsible for your happiness and should no longer blame others for your circumstances. There is a saying that you are the average of the 5 closest friends. So separate yourself from those with no goals and negative habits, and seek out those with positive attitudes and healthy habits. Number 3, chase your dreams. I'm not here today to tell you that all of your dreams can come true or will come true, but if you chase your dreams, you are much more likely to achieve much more than you think possible. By the time I was in your shoes, I'd given up on the astronaut dream. The moon landings were over. NASA had not recruited for astronauts since I was a student at Grace E. Stewart Elementary. It's tough to work on something that's difficult if you don't have a passion for it. I floundered through my first couple of years at Kansas State, taking engineering classes, but without any strong desire to become an engineer. But I had always been fascinated by flight, and I had taught myself to hang glide before I learned or was old enough to drive a car. One day, my junior year, my college advisor said to me, as much time as you spend cutting class to go hang glide, maybe you should consider the Air Force. I didn't even know such a thing was possible for me. So I went and talked to the Air Force recruiters, and sure enough, it wasn't possible. They were not the least bit interested in me. But the Marines were. The majority of Marine pilots fly helicopters, but if you're good enough and lucky enough, you could get selected to fly jets. I was raised very anti-military and was wary of signing my name on the dotted line. My senior year, I noticed a flyer on a bulletin board that NASA was recruiting for space shuttle astronauts, and they wanted military test pilots. The dream was alive, and I set out to chase it. And suddenly, I began excelling in my studies. You may be tempted to give up on your dreams because the odds of success seem too small, the effort too great, or the journey too long. When you are a teenager, summer can seem endless, and a few more years of school analogous to a life sentence. I implore you to not submit to the temptation to forgo short-term effort that will result in long-term gain, and thus sentencing yourself to a lifetime of working harder and on less fulfilling work. Number 4, make a long-range plan and steer towards it. Real life has a way of interfering with plans, but if you don't have a plan, then life will really interfere with your dreams. Fighter pilots always want more thrust. It's exhilarating. But airplanes also need stability, so they go where you point them. And life is like that. Charging along at full throttle without a purposeful sense of direction leaves you spinning and gets you nowhere. If I ever wanted to go to test pilot school, I first had to prove myself as a fighter pilot, and I worked hard at it. It wasn't that difficult because it was amazingly fun for me, and I was eventually selected to go to the Navy's Top Gun school. But that did not really impress my family until Tom Cruise went a year later. It was only after that pinnacle that I let it be known that I really wanted to be a test pilot. Number 5, always be on the lookout for obstacles, have a plan for circumnavigating them, and be ready to jump when an opportunity presents itself. Life is not an easy beach stroll. It's a challenging uphill climb, and climbing a mountain is really as simple as going directly up. You need to be clever and know when an obstacle should best be avoided or sidestepped. Lou Holtz, the football coach and commentator, says, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. So do not let temporary setbacks become permanent excuses. There is often a window of opportunity for achieving intermediate goals. You can't be too young or too old, too junior or too senior. I found out after I was already in the military that test pilots normally have an engineering degree, something I did not possess. Selections for test pilot school were held twice a year. The first time I applied, I heard nothing back. The second time, again, nothing. The third time, I made the list as an alternate, a runner-up. But when the chosen pilot had a medical problem, I was suddenly on my way. If a train to your destination magically appears, be ready to jump on it before it leaves you behind. Number 6 is enjoy the journey. Becoming an astronaut is not just about having the right qualifications. It also requires a high degree of luck and being in the right place at the right time. I could not plan to become an astronaut, but I was determined to enjoy the journey. If you want to be a medical doctor, you should be eager to learn about the requisites, such as the biological sciences required to understand the human body. If that does not appeal to you, then consider a different summit and a path that does. NASA astronaut selection was now occurring every 2 years. Thousands applied, and 4 consecutive times I made it to the next to the final cut of 100 finalists. NASA even hired me as an astronaut instructor pilot, but I never got selected to be an astronaut. 8 years passed by. I was enjoying the journey, but I had the realization that there would likely always be a handful of pilots ranked higher than me on their selection list. When I received the chance to transfer to California and test pilot the coolest and the hottest research airplanes in the world, I jumped on that train, even though I thought it was headed towards a different summit. 7, fear is normal, but don't succumb to it. It's easy to become fearful if you think about the risks or the efforts required. Do not let the fear of failure paralyze you from reaching your potential. Whether it's space flight, curing cancer, solving world hunger, or reaching your personal goals, achieving anything of note takes courage in the face of fear. I had a few great years flying for NASA, but then aeronautical budgets were slashed, and I decided to take a very different path, leaving NASA to fly for United Airlines. I was starting a new career in my 40s with a family of 5 and a starting salary that did not cover my mortgage payment. And that's scarier than when the engine quits in your single-engine airplane. I became a Boeing 767 pilot and was scheduled to pilot Flight 175 from Boston to Los Angeles on September 18th. Exactly 1 week earlier, that flight was hijacked by terrorists and flown into the World Trade Center. Airlines cut back on flying, and I was furloughed. Life may throw obstacles in your path that you simply cannot plan for. Suddenly, we were in a war on terror, and I received orders to return to military duty, this time as an Air Force flight instructor at their test pilot school. Kind of ironic. But once again, I was flying cool fighter jets and once again teaching spaceplane-style shuttle approaches and landings. And a few years later, when Sir Richard Branson contracted for the development of a commercial spacecraft, the design that evolved employed a large mothership to drop a space plane, and when they began looking for test pilots, there I was with experience in myriad aircraft, ranging from fighters to airliners, and with decades of experience doing space plane shuttle landing approaches. Suddenly I wasn't just back on my dream path, I was pretty darn close to the summit. Looking back at my career, every cloud really did have a silver lining. Number 8, avoid impulsivity. A momentary decision can have lifelong consequences. Brash decisions have killed many a pilot, and brash decisions have negatively affected people's lives, loves, and employment. Number 9, keep things in perspective. For young people, everything tends to have a sense of criticality. Small successes, failures, relationships, which group likes you, which group doesn't, it can be all-consuming. And I dislike when I hear adults tell younger people that you don't understand, because you do understand. It's just that you don't have the years of experience on this planet that helps temper those ups and downs and keeps things in perspective. Number 10, keep an open mind. For years, I held the strong belief that there was only one proper way to load a roll of toilet paper, and then my daughter's cats proved me wrong. One role of the young is to be a revolutionary change for the greater good. Revolution is not just wars and protests. I encourage you to think of it as trying to make possible that which the previous generation deemed impossible. 18-year-olds can be stubborn, but when you combine stubbornness with an open mind and a gritty drive to succeed, well, that's a recipe for great achievements. And keeping an open mind is a requisite for my final recommendation, which is never stop learning. Today's celebration is not the waving of a checkered flag at the finish line, but the retort of a starter's pistol to a grand future. But it's not a sprint, it's an ultra-marathon. When I graduated from flight school, I was awarded a diploma and given a symbolic set of gold wings. But like your diplomas today, that did not mean my learning was over. For I had a lot to learn on my own if I was to survive flying on the darkest of nights over the blackest of seas, inadvertent encounters with thunderstorms and wind shear, loss of control of a spaceship, and the hot lead from enemy guns. Becoming a wise and experienced pilot takes good judgment, but getting that good judgment and experience usually comes from surviving experience caused by bad judgment and learning the proper lessons from them. You will get your wisdom like the same way the rest of the world does. It's a wonderfully scary world out there. Climb those obstacles in your path and relish the views from up high. I thank you for your attention, congratulate you on your achievements, and wish you the best of luck.
Parents, teachers, distinguished guests, family, and friends, please join me in congratulating the Salina South High class of 2019 on conquering one of society's greatest milestones. I want to thank you all for making my high school experience the best that it could have possibly been. It truly worries me that I might have already gone through the best part of my life. The students, teachers, and administrators at South High are second to none. Now that is a cliche statement, but I truly mean it. The South High environment does a tremendous job of developing students into socially outgoing and intellectually successful young adults, and I think it is very important to acknowledge how blessed we were. When looking back on our high school career, many great memories come to mind. Some that I can share, and some that I shouldn't. Remembering the first month of freshman year, we had a class meeting about the homecoming float. At the meeting, I passed on the advice given to me to strive to be involved in everything we possibly could. The class of 2019 proudly made the most of that statement. I may be biased, but as freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, the class of 2019 demographically dominated the majority of South High's clubs, sports, and activities. From the student section to the mathletes and everything in between, 2019 played a major role. Although we definitely weren't the most successful in everything we did, we made the most out of every situation. And that is what I think makes this class special. We were able to develop an easygoing and optimistic culture in everything we did. Even though I did not enjoy the rigor of some of our classes, I truly enjoyed getting the teacher off topic every chance we could. I think that the personality of 2019 was observed at its finest in school spirit.
I remember going to our first pep rally as freshmen. Nobody stood, everyone was quiet, and it was the farthest thing from hype. As juniors, many of us stood for the entire pep rally and started a trend that brought school spirit to a new level. Through all the wins and the losses, and for some of us, we spent a lot more time losing than winning, the 2019 student section was always there. Once again, we were able to make the most out of every situation, even if that means losing 8 football games in a row. With that being said, the class of 2019 experienced a tremendous amount of success in bowling, theater, swimming, track, debate, and many, many more. Over our 4 years, we have created a list of accolades that is truly astonishing, and it foreshadows our potential moving forward. The class of 2019 is also unique because of our experience with the building transformation. We are the only class to fully experience the untouched old school and completely finished new school. There are few people who can look back on our high school career and not remember all the random alarms, gas leaks, water leaks, and unconventional bathrooms and classrooms. These experiences have, for the most part, positively impacted our high school experience. I mean, having school canceled the first week of school because of a gas leak was pretty legit. Our ability to adapt, overcome, and make the most out of every situation is what has and will set us apart from all other classes. To be honest, I could stand up here all day and talk about high school, but at some point I have to wrap this up. I would like to end my speech with a few words of advice. Now, I have very little real-world experience to back my thoughts, but I still think they are worth sharing. As we go our separate ways and live out our lives, stay true to your small-town Salina, Kansas roots. Develop your own beliefs and values and live by them. We have grown up in a very interesting and adapting society. Whether we like it or not, the world is changing, and we are the future. Unfortunately, our generation is often negatively bashed. People think we are lazy and privileged. I say prove them wrong, and make a positive impact on this world. Be a productive member of society. Follow the news, work hard, give back, and most importantly, don't expect anything to be handed to you. When you're faced with adversity, don't back down. As much as I hate to say it, I'm guessing life will be filled with a lot of punches to the face, and the way you respond is what truly defines you. I would once again like to thank you all for creating a high school atmosphere and experience that will reside positively within me for the rest of my life. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors and hope we can stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. This afternoon's ceremony is to honor the class of 2019. Graduation marks one of the most important milestones in a young person's life. And each year we uphold the outstanding traditions and programs of South High. Most notable for this class is the group of students we are about to recognize for our Outstanding Citizens Award. The Outstanding Citizens are recognized for excellence as an exemplary young citizen who demonstrated a marked respect for country, assumed responsibility for improving the school and community, and has shown reverence for life. Students, as I call your names, please stand and remain standing. The outstanding young citizens as selected by their peers for the class of 2019 are Taylor Davison, Marissa Russ, and Luke Strite. Congratulations. The outstanding young citizens as selected by the faculty and staff for the class of 2019 are Keaton Munsell and Camden Schreiber. Please stand and be recognized at this time. Thank you. 20 students achieved a GPA of 4.0 or better every semester throughout their high school career. Students, as I call your names, please stand and remain standing. Audience, please hold your applause until all of the names have been read. And again, I need you to continue standing because you're going to also be recognized for the next award. So Emily Allen, Taylor Davison, Tyler Doherty, Grace Hogue, Jacqueline Holdren, Celeste Horton, Madison Huffman, Mason Lundgren, Keaton Munsell, Parker Norton, Marissa Russ, Alyssa Russell, Camden Schreiber, Angelina Schumann, Luke Strite, Abigail Teschke, Seth Thompson, Kaylee Warren, Cole Wassenberg, and Jacob Wilcox. Please remain standing. Congratulations. I'd also like to recognize the top 10% of the graduation class. The 20 students we've just recognized are also in the top 10% of the class. Again, audience, I ask that you hold your applause until all names are read. Would the following students also stand? Kiara Alvarez, Michaela Cook, Tatum Forrester, Daniela Garcia, Carter Granzella, Connor Munsell, Sheldon Perez, and Trey Turner. Please join me in congratulating all of the students on their record. You may be seated. Our intention this afternoon's activities are that they are dignified and pay proper respect to each and every graduate. To create this atmosphere, I need everyone's assistance and help. Please help honor every graduate. These students have worked very hard over the last 4 years, and their families and them deserve to have their names heard by everyone when they cross the stage. I ask that you do not use air horns while the students are being presented their diplomas. There will be a time for celebration, I promise, after all students have been presented a diploma, but I want to make sure that their families can hear their names. Will the class of 2019 please stand? Yeah, let's recognize them. That's great. Madam President Ebel, USD 305 Board of Education members, Dr. Hardy, faculty, parents, relatives, and guests, each member of the graduating class has completed the academic requirements required by the Kansas State Department of Education, USD 305, and Salina High School South. Each member of the class of 2019 is to receive a diploma. I now present to you the Salina High School South class of 2019. Congratulations.
Good to go. Kylie Nicole Aldridge. Emily Claire Allen. Ian S. Allen. Kiara K. Alvarez. Matthew J. Arceo. Philip Artis. Paul Christopher Armbrust. Casey N. Armstrong. Do I just skip him? Tanner Lee Arnold. Chance M. Atkins. Elena Ayala. Brianna Lynn Bayard. Alex Thomas Banks. Bailey Joy Berry. Ryan M. Bathon. Georgia N. Bell. Ashley Bellamy. Jarrett Blocklinger. Andrew P. Bowes. Landon Lloyd Bowles. Avery Allen Brown. Clayton R. Brown. Hannah Elizabeth Brucker. Kami Lynn Buckley. Carson K. Burr. Kai Money Calvert. Chase Tyler Campbell. Angelica Carrillo Hernandez. Vicente Castaneda. Brenda J. Castro. Davian Joe Chaput. Emily Chavez Benivimonde. Tristan L. Chilcott. Blake Riley Clarkson. Taylor Cleveland. Jaden A. Clifton. Leighton J. Klein. Lillian Louise Collett. Michaela Ann Cook. Joshua A. Korn. Dylan R. Corrigan. Gretchen Lanice Cox. Nolan Dale Cox. Tyler M. Crafts. Jordana Lynn Daly. Andrew Price Davis. Kylie K. Davis. Taylor Page Davison. Jose de Santiago Roman. Dimitri K. Delmar. Seth Jimothy Demars. Victor M. Devora. Gabrielle Deal. Tyler Jake Doherty. Cristobal Dominguez. Brandon William Edwards. Erg B. Einhaus. Spencer L. Einhaus. Caitlin Aline Elder.
Corwin James Evans. Ethan D. Fonts. Uvicella Fierro Cortez. Dorian Figueroa. Mira Leanne Flesher. Tatum Shay Forrester. Ethan Dane Foster. Ian Michael Frost. Madeline M. Fuller. Isaac Gallegos. Yahira Galvin. Daniela Garcia. Larissa Garcia. Roy Garcia. Madison L. Gebhardt. Seth A. Gonzalez. Syra Jovita Gonzalez. Augustus Paul Wayne Greenwood. Jessica Louise Greer. Caitlin Ann Gregory. Mariah Lynn Halpane. Nevaeh Marie Hansen. Adrian J. Head. James Mason Henderson. Esmeralda Hernandez. Yulissa Hernandez. Emily Elizabeth Hernandez. Lauren P. Herwig. Grace Catherine Hogue. Peyton Haley Holcomb. Jacqueline Suzanne Holdren. Audra Lee A. Hopkins. Celeste J. Horton. Madison M. Huffman. Noah Ray Jackman. Alex D. Jared. Michael B. Jasper. Tyrese S. Johnson. Addison R. Jones. Austin Taylor Jones. Elise Alexandra Junk. Maximus Sivone Kiomanavon. Skylar Deanne Kerr. Lane A.M. Kenyon. Emma Reed Kinkler. Tabitha D. Kirchner. Landon Alexander Clausen. Taylor J. Coors. DeAndre Reed Coleman. Braden Andrew Conzum. Zachary Michael Lambert. Colby A. Logness. Brianna Kaylee Loisanoy.
Trinity J. Lundgren. Mason Tanner Lundgren. Lauren Elizabeth Lust. Victor Xavier Magalinas Rivas. Elizabeth Jane Malquit. Emily Lillian Martinez. Kaylee Jess Martinez. Raina G. Martinez. Sebastian Martinez. Yoseli Martinez. Alexis Jaden Mason. Ian Maxey. Sydney Shea McAdoo. Erica Micola. Dante Jerome McNeil. Alicia Marie Medina. Andrew Edward Mendez. Brett Michael Miller. Jacqueline Marie Miller. Jaden Wayne Miller.
Yes, sir.
Macy K. Miller. Isaac William Mitchell. Devin J. Morris. Jaden D. Morrow. Connor B. Munsell. Dylan Murphy. Diego Alexander Nava. Carla Pajola Nava Ochoa. Jason Nguyen. Matthew Joseph Nichols. Laylee Ava Norton. Parker R. Norton. John Anthony Nowak. Samantha Ojeda. Cindy Ojeda. Isabel M. Olson. Adriel Alonso Ordonez. Curry D. Otter. Allison Joy Palmer. Sheldon Eric Perez. Anastasia Petsamom Pomchalern. Ivan Lee Pike. Eileen Ponce. Brian Gazada. Kyle Anthony Quill. Adriana Isabel Ramirez. Brandon Michael Rechtenwald. Donovan T. Reeves. Cameron A. Reeves. Parker A. Renz. Daniela Rivera Avina. Karina Yvette Rivera. Gage Alexander Roberts.
Congratulations.
Paloma A. Rodriguez. Tyler W. Rodriguez. Minerva Romero. Nicholas Dalton Rush. Marissa Karen Russ.
Alyssa B. Russell. Tylen T. Samrith.
Thank you.
Bree Lois Cyan Samuel. Stephanie Sanchez Espinosa. Am I good to go? Connor Leroy Schmeck.
Thank you.
Camden Blaze Schreiber.
I'll get him next time.
Angelina Hope Schumann. Alexander D. Settle. Derek J. Sherwood. Jersey J. Serminski.
Thank you.
Haley Brianne Simon. Gage A. Smith. Jaden M. Smith. Kylie Michelle Smith. Saya Jonathan Sullivan. Kiana Lynn Sparks Beeson. Peyton R. Spear. Lucas Richard Spracklin.
Congratulations.
Cole Allen Stein.
Congratulations.
Eric James Stockham. Monique Leanne Sutherland. Zachary Allen Swanson. Connor J. Talbot.
Thank you. Good job.
Chloe Elizabeth Taylor. Abigail Lynn Tusky. Seth Michael Thompson. Leonardo Jesus Torres. Brian Tran. Nan Tu Nui Tran. Aaliyah Madison Travis. Kinley Marie Trimble. Noah Ryan Turner. Trey Allen Turner. Samantha Nicole Euler. Bailey Juliana Usher. Daniel Valtierra Picasso. Jordan D. Van Arsdale. Daniel Vega. Iván Velo Castañeda. Salina Naomi Vicente. Morgan Page Wakefield. Sean W. Wallace. Ian Dawson Walter. Madison Lee Walter. Kaylee Ann Warren. Cole Joseph Wassenberg. Damian Wheeler. Haley Jean White. Jacob A. Wilcox. Brogan Michael Willick. Jonah S. Winsky. Mackenzie L. Winter. Demi J. Walters. Sierra Elaine Wood. Brandon Woodhull. Jaden Ann Zomasnik. Juan Luis Cepeda Aranda.
Luke Strite. Keaton Munsell. Carter Granzella. Araceli Nieto.
Before we celebrate, class of 2019, please stand. You may now transfer your tassel from the right side to the left. It's time to celebrate class of 2019.
Students may sit down. Well, that's all we got for you, folks. I would like to extend a thank you to all the parents, family members, and teachers that have aided us all in our paths to graduation. The pressure is now on the class of 2019 to make their lives a successful and prideful venture. So, just remember, We're here for a good time, not a long time. See you around. Audience members, please remain seated until the graduates have left the room.